Come on, though.
Will.
You're live.
We are live indeed. Here we go.
There we go. Hello. I guess people can leave their comment on the side there.
Exactly. That's the live chat.
Hello.
I guess we still got to give it some time.
Oh, you can actually see the numbers.
That's
there.
it. Very good. Yeah. People are slowly coming in.
Oh, hello.
There we go.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Oh, hello, Rosie. Rosie, the first person. Shout out, Rosie.
Very good. Well, this seems to be working, I guess.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Okay, let's dive right into it.
We probably should give them a minute or so, actually, because I've been seeing like people are just tuning in now. So let's maybe wait a minute or so. I know you're very excited.
No, I had a live webinar a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then I started at exactly 4 p.m. After the webinar, the feedback? You're like, doing webinars, they keep it 5 minutes for people to join. I was
exactly.
Working on German time here.
Hi from London. We are here. Awesome. You see now? Everybody's coming in.
This is our first YouTube
New York.
live.
Very cool. Hi, New York as well.
Hello, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hi from London.
Very good. Well, we hope you guys are ready. We hope you guys maybe have some tea or wine or whatever your preferred drink is for the next half an hour or so. Yeah. South Africa, very good.
Montreal, Canada, Houston,
Sabona.
Ukraine,
awesome.
Dublin, Germany, Amsterdam. Jesus. Oh my God. Guys, awesome. I feel the love.
Nigeria is there.
Is that Nigeria?
Nigeria, of course.
Yeah.
Nigeria's in the house. Very cool. Awesome. Should we start with some wine as well ourselves?
Okay, yes. Yeah.
So we got some glasses ourselves so that you at least don't have to feel too bad behind there. Don't have to feel guilty. Well, this is for you, by the way. Okay, I hope that's enough.
That's generous enough. I'll take that.
Compared to usual. All right. Well, I would say.
Yours is bigger than mine.
Ooh, you want to top up?
Yeah.
How do you feel now? Is that equal?
Yeah, that's equal.
Does it feel good? Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
Post. Ghana as well, very good. Tanzania, awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
Should we dive in?
Let's do it. I think everybody knows.
First disclaimer, we have attempted to put the kids in bed, but there is a great chance that we will be interrupted by Kian, who would literally walk into this office. And if that happens, bear with us. I'm sure you understand.
Yes, exactly. Excuse if there were any interruptions, in the next half an hour or so, but let's see.
Yeah. Okay, so today's topic. Okay, well, let's go back to the beginning. So this is the To Navigate live series, and inspiration for setting up this live series is not the live series. Our inspiration for even having To Navigate is talking about navigating our way through life as a couple.
Right.
And if you guys have been here from the beginning and the way we started our dance video and then putting out content even before the kids were born, we generally got a lot of relationship questions, and it didn't really change even after kids. So then we thought, well, you know what, it'd be great to have this To Navigate series, whether or not you're married, because relationship is relationship, whether or not kids are involved. And then we started the series. So this is the first time going live, and the first,
super exciting. Yeah,
super exciting. I feel like I'm talking too much.
Don't worry. I'll find my time.
Okay.
So obviously, we had asked you on all the different platforms, right? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everywhere, and even YouTube as well, to submit your questions. Again, we've obviously had gotten lots of them already in the past, but we really wanted sort of the up-to-date questions, and we've gone through them. There are lots of different ones actually in there, but we thought there were actually quite a few that were similar or around the topic we want to talk to you about today. So we thought this one would be a good kind of first topic to address and share with you kind of our experience and I guess view on it.
Yes, and the topic is, how did we make time for sex with young kids?
Yep. A lot of questions around intimacy, by the way, and we appreciate that, by the way. Don't feel, some people kind of apologize up front when they ask questions around like that. That's
it's
a
normal.
huge,
It's so
important
normal.
topic for couples, and it's sometimes hard maybe to find people to talk to about this. So don't worry about it at all. We don't, it doesn't feel weird at all. So thanks really for opening up and sharing some of your questions around this.
And just another disclaimer in case my mom is here in the live video.
Mommy, please.
Mom, please don't
Come
be
on.
angry. I just have to talk
Please.
about this.
You can watch it later. Don't be here live. You can watch it later when it's on.
Anyway, so let's get right
Yeah.
into it. Do you want to start?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think we would probably have to start with the kids and kind of around birth, because that obviously was a big change, I guess,
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to take you just a little step back to prior to kids, right? Because somehow I feel like the degree to which your sex life is affected after kids depends on how it was before kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, David and I, we weren't love at first sight.
No.
Because we were friends. Even I had a crush on you.
No, I was going to say, I think I might have been, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah, you were. I did have a crush on you. But anyway, my thing is, we kind of really believe like the first thing that kind of gets you into a relationship is the physical attraction. First of all, I know that there's a few situations where people know each other before, they meet somewhere, they're from church, they're friends, all manner of things. But your typical, crush or meeting someone and thinking, oh, he's cute, she's cute, is usually the physical attraction. There's something that physically attracts you to that person, and that ultimately is the chemistry as well. So David and I did have good chemistry. Not did have, it's not past tense. we have good chemistry. Great. Right? And then if I'm thinking of like intimacy before childbirth, I mean, that was great.
We can't complain, really. I would say like time seemed to just stand still sometimes. Let's put it that way. Weekends just came and went again. It was Friday was suddenly Sunday evening. You're like, where did that weekend go? So let's put it that way.
Okay, it was raunchy. I honestly can't think of a time before kids where I felt like, oh, we're not having enough sex. Like I never really thought that. Like it was great. Anyway, fast forward to when kids came. They never really tell you that. And another reason why I'm really keen or passionate to talk about this topic is because once upon a time, I was where some of you are wondering, oh, what's sex like after kids? And I didn't have anybody to answer those questions for me. But my specific worry, was, okay, when you actually have a child, how long until, how long after the childbirth can you actually have sex again? I don't know the answer to that question. But in our case specifically, how long would you say?
Oh, I mean, for Kian, I think it's only a few weeks, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, almost. I mean, it was, I don't know, 6 weeks?
Yeah, well, maybe? A few weeks, that's months then.
Well, 1 or 2 months. Yeah. Like 1 or 2 months, yeah.
Let it sound as drastic as it is. Weeks sound like a little. It's like it was 6 weeks.
1 or 2 months, yeah.
Literally almost 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
And in that time, okay, so I'll tell you, I did have an emergency C-section. And so those few weeks were inclusive of my recovery from surgery. Like, ain't nobody about to hump me when I'm just recovering from surgery, like seriously. But anyway, it was a few weeks after. But in that time, I was feeling really bad. Personally, because I was like, oh, I mean, actually, not because I was there craving sex. That's another thing. Like you're kind of, what do you call it?
Well,
libido, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are other things your body is concerned about.
Jesus Christ,
I can only imagine anyway, but like...
Yeah,
especially
like with breastfeeding. Oh my God, that was another thing I used to worry about, was like, even when said intimacy happened, like, what's the situation? What's happening up here when I'm breastfeeding? I used to wonder if men drank the milk. Literally used to wonder that.
It's not actually that bad. It's actually not that bad.
Anyway, so it was like the recovery was there.
Yeah.
But then I had a chat with a few of my friends who had vaginal birth, and some of them didn't actually go back to having sex until 6-7 months later, and I was like,
Imagine.
okay, I thought mine was bad, but it really depends on the recovery, right? And it depends on the understanding of the partner.
I was going to say, but that's kind of the other side then, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing, of course, there's this hugely important and most important kind of physical aspect and emotional aspect of the mother, right? Giving birth. I mean, those two elements, right? It's one thing for the physical side, regardless of the birth, like the way of the birth, let's say.
Yeah.
And then there's certainly an emotional side. Obviously, certain women are affected by it emotionally more than others. But on the other side, of course, of the partner, there's also a level of expectation that is very important, right? I mean, I find it sometimes a little bit disappointing, to be honest, when we hear or when we get some of the comments or emails, from people where they're seemingly at these partners that really have no understanding and no kind of clear respect almost for that.
Yeah.
And that's it's a little bit disappointing, as I said, as a man at least. I mean, it has to, when you're about to have a child, as a man at least, as a future father, right? I mean, it's not just about thinking like, oh, great, I'm going to have a son or a daughter now. I mean, you have to think about like what actually your partner is going through it in the month leading up to it, and then of course the birth itself and the month after. And I think there's sometimes this wrong idea, like, well, once the child is popped, like that's it, back to normal. Right? Yeah. And I think having of course we had lots of conversations about this up front and everything, but like it also depends a lot on what your partner actually expects of you, right? Yeah. Some partners might be disappointed if it doesn't happen again after 2 weeks, right? Others are okay with it for taking months, like it depends on what you were actually expecting in the beginning. It's all, I think is a big piece, like wrong expectations can actually, then you can only get disappointed.
Yeah.
If you thought it's going to happen after a week again, and by the way, I saw one of the comments, by the way, I'm watching the comments, and somebody said they had already sex after 7 days again.
Lucky
I saw that.
Somebody said we started immediately, depends on your recovery. Absolutely, depends on your recovery.
Of course, but it's unusual, let's say, that early, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody had that expectation as a man, then they can almost always only get disappointed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it depends on your expectation, but also communication is key. But that being said, I mean, I'm going to draw from my own personal experience. Nonetheless, even though we were very great at communicating, even though like we had very good sexual chemistry, I still felt the pressure, not in a bad way, but the pressure. I kind of felt, I didn't feel pressure. I felt sorry for you. That's what it was. More like, oh, like poor David, because trust me,
tough.
The first few weeks I was not in the mood. I was not, like, I did not even think, I was just worrying about my breasts that were engorged, worrying about my baby that was like waking up to feed 2 hours, every 2 hours. So I just felt really kind of like sorry for you in a way. And then we would talk about it, and then you say something like, oh, babe, don't worry, it's okay. And it was fine.
Of course.
Anyway, another thing around this topic that people asked was the interruption.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, there were some funny comments or stories actually that some of you shared. Exactly. So somebody's asking, well, how do you deal with young kids, interrupting you? Has it ever happened, by the way, that
it's happened to a lot of people because they leave their doors open.
Apparently, it has happened to a lot of people. So again, people were asking about this, and I mean, number one, straight out, it has not happened to us yet. That doesn't mean it won't happen ever. Who knows, right? Especially if they're a little bit older. I don't know, but it certainly hasn't happened.
Wait, it's not happened to us that a kid, and when I say a kid, is literally kid. Walks into the room. It's not happened, but we have been interrupted because there's a baby monitor in the room and you're like trying to get your groove on, and all of a sudden there's this like unwanted background noise of like a child crying that is just an absolute turn off.
Of course.
Especially at the beginning. But at some point, I think when you then realize this is your new normal for the next few years, you kind of like think about it as like some sort of nice background noise. It depends on the cry as well. Like we know the kind of this sort of cry that would make us stop and like run to the room. But we also know the kind of cry that we're just like, you know what, we're finishing this activity.
That was exactly what I thought about. I wasn't sure whether to say it or not. But I was like, the funny thing about that then is like you're literally like, you know what, screw that. We won't get another chance for a few days. So let's just like. Let's just, like, get it over and done with it, and then like, okay, then we're good for a few days again, you know. These guys are not going to ruin like the moment.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that's it for us as far as interruption though.
Yeah.
But generally, just going a little bit back to
and also, so no, the other thing I think, so it was a kind of around interruptions, of course, with babies around. So when they're specifically small, let's say a couple of months old, and obviously a lot of people, I know this is outside of this, even maybe a slightly controversial topic of like having your kids sleep in or next to your bed and whatnot. Obviously, the first 2 weeks and maybe very few months, okay, but we actually had both of the boys actually move out of our bed very early into kind of a small little kind of side cot bed next to our bed. That was fine, of course, for the breastfeeding. Yeah. But even after that, once we finished, when I say you finished breastfeeding, we also...
So you just put yourself into that.
No, I feel like we kind of, you know...
Breastfed together.
No. But
show me
I think my support helped a lot in it. But anyway,
in the production of the milk.
No. Well, sometimes I had to stimulate the production of the milk, so... So I feel like I had some part in it.
Okay, fine.
But anyway, what I was going to say. But we also very early on actually decided very intentionally to move the kids out of our bedroom in general, right? Yeah. Obviously with a monitor and like, you know, all these things. But like, I think that also plays a big part in a lot of couples maybe that are struggling with that, is that they keep their kids obviously, and that's just fine, of course, it's your decision.
Fine, actually, yeah.
But just for us, when it comes to the intimacy part, of course, that helped a lot, right? Because yes, they could be crying, but it's a bit different if they're crying in the next room, or if you feel awkward about it at all. Even though they're sleeping, some couples might feel a little awkward even getting into the groove. Yeah. And even the kids are sleeping, you know, next to you.
Yeah, let alone that they're crying in the room.
Exactly. So for us, that certainly helped, I think, at least a lot as well.
Because we've been known to decrease the sound of the monitor before, like while the action is going down. But at least like there's the baby. No, but the baby is crying. We both have decreased the sound of the monitor so that the crying doesn't interrupt us. We've done that. And like I said to you, disclaimer, it depends on the sort of cry. You kind of know as a parent, like, is this the kind to that we need to actually get up? Now, don't be a liar. You know what I'm looking at?
I've never reduced the volume of the monitor.
Jesus, you're a liar, Topic. You have. Anyway, it's way different if the kid is literally by your bedside screaming.
Yeah.
So this is not even it's better to take your kids out. No. Really, I'm a believer in do whatever floats your boat. And I actually left Noah longer than we left Kian in our room. Right. I just kind of had attachment.
Yeah, I think you kind of early on.
I did, because Kian grew up to be like the daddy's boy. When everyone was like, like the boys are mommy's boys. No, didn't explain that. So then I said to David, this second one is going to must be a mommy's boy.
Funny thing is, though, yes, you said that, but now slowly, and I told Adanna always, like, trust me, this is just a phase. We're all like, you know, you boys are always going to be mommy's boys at the end of the day, which is fine. And now, of course, the funny thing is it's slowly happening, and Adanna doesn't want to admit it. So more and more now, like I don't want to say I've become the stricter one. I've not maybe per se, but they've oftentimes now kind of whenever anything sad is happening or they're a little bit upset, who do they run to first? It's actually now Adanna. So exactly what I've told you, like, no, this is a phase, like, you know, it's going up and down. Like for a few months it's Papa or Daddy, you know, the next month is Mommy.
The kid only runs to me when you've annoyed him.
No, I think in general, when he's upset or something is happening, or he always then wants his mommy. Yeah. When he's hurt, when he has an accident, for example, when nobody's fault, he just had an accident, but he usually would then go for mommy.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the point is, I tried to make Noah a mommy's boy, left him in our room longer, but still, I did have in the back of my mind that my priority is to get my groove back on with my man. So you guys are getting out of our room. So we definitely did try to, you know, get them used to like a separate room. And that's definitely something that had really helped our intimacy after kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe also, because we do obviously want to spend some time as well to go through some of your questions, right? Mm-hmm. So we thought of some of the key things, I think, that helped us the most, right? That I think we've kind of touched on a little bit already now, or another thing, is nap time as well. It's also the timing of the day as well, especially with your young kids in the first few years. They're still having a nap time. And some of you have said, obviously, well, we're very exhausted in the evenings. Like, how do you find kind of the energy, let's say? Yeah. Actually, what I personally, to be honest, I'm going to be honest, I really like as well. But a lot of people have found actually very useful is using the nap time during the day, right? So making an effort and making sure and kind of just taking time for yourself, whether you necessarily end up having sex or not doesn't matter, but just making sure maybe, okay, let's also take half an hour ourselves. That's actually good generally for your health anyway, having the rest during the day. But that also turned out, for us at least, certainly one of the best times, because then you don't have that kind of feeling in the evening, either disappointment on one end or like a really kind of, oh, why are we not having sex? Maybe on the male partner, who knows,
Quickies are your best friend.
We're halfway through the day, like they still have the energy for it, like amazing.
Yeah.
Also, then sometimes I feel like the energy you get out of the actual exercise, you can then carry that into the rest of the day, right? So that's how I look at it as well. Like, But and then the second thing as well, of course, a big, very important piece, as you I would phrase it, yes, quickies are your best friend.
Yeah.
So you just have to, sometimes
make the most of the time that the
for,
baby has given you.
Yeah. Use the time window that you have and make the most out of it, let's say. Showers are good, examples. I know.
What? What are you talking about? What showers? David, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I mean,
you're your own, mate.
Anyway.
You're on your own.
And lastly?
Yeah, to conclude. Oh my God, we've gone over 20 minutes already. Okay.
And lastly, sorry, quick point on the last recommendation, of course, is around, as we always kind of preach, communication and being honest, right? I think a lot of this also depends on just being very honest about it from both sides. The male perspective, of course, being open what you expect and what you want, but also, of course, from the female side, to be very, very clear and open about, your feelings and what you want and what you don't want.
What you don't want, communication. Right. So we're going to round up with our 4 tips. So the topic being, how do we make time for kids? The topic being, how do we make time for sex after kids? So our 4 tips will be communication, because that obviously manages everybody's expectation. Yeah. Number 2 will be, so this is not even advice to you guys. This is literally what we did. So the communication. Then secondly would be, us taking our kids out of the room very early kind of helped our intimacy. 3 is quickies. They're your best friend. And then the last was, what's another point?
Nap times.
Yeah.
Sleeping in their own bed. Kids sleeping in their own beds.
Literally just
quickies and communication. Honestly, I think you said all the 4. I
said it all.
I think you got the points.
Yeah. So that's it from us for this episode. We're just gonna thank you so much for all of the comments that have been streaming in, by the way. Thank you. We're just gonna try to, go through them.
Yes, now's your time, by the way.
Take a few questions and then we'll call it.
Don't worry.
We'll call it a night.
Yeah, well, don't worry. We're not going yet. So, by the way, anybody who's shared any comments or a question earlier, like obviously we hadn't got a chance to see it yet, so please feel free to ask your questions now. And first of all, Ethan, we're seeing you, by the way. I've been seeing your comment now, so hi.
Who's that?
Ethan has been posting.
Okay.
All right, let's get to the questions.
Hello. I'm so good to see. Sorry, I'm just getting excited by seeing you.
All right, now let's have a look at some of you guys' questions.
The first question, someone said, "Did you have twin boys?" Excuse me, what?
Have you been watching our videos?
No, I don't have twin boys, of course.
No, we have not. I know they look very similar, but hey, don't go. No, we're not going. Don't worry, we still have some time. Honestly, delightful. Thank you.
Okay, let's just scroll up to some of the questions.
Do you want
to go down?
Let's go. Now's the time. You have to submit your questions now. Others are missing. What wine are you drinking?
What wine are you drinking?
Okay, that's an odd one.
It's a question nonetheless.
That's true.
It's that one. Hold on. Can you see it? Yeah, that one. It's Mellow.
Yeah.
Cabernet.
It's Mellow Cabernet.
No.
De France. De la France. De la France. How many kids are you guys planning to have in the future?
Do we really need to go there?
That depends on who you ask on which day.
Do you know why David said that? Because I go through, babe, let's actually have a kid. Oh, babe. And then literally the next day, I'm like, do not talk to me about more children. We are not having more children in this household. And especially when the kids really wreck my head. But yeah, David wants 4 kids.
Ideally.
The funny thing is, growing up in Nigeria, I used to want 11. Literally used to want 11 kids. Then it went down to 9, 7, 5,
Jesus.
3, 2.
Jesus.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, you see the kind of the change, and I've been always like 4.
Welcome to.
You go from like 12 or 11 to like 2, and anyway. Adanna, how did you lose your pregnancy fat?
The way you put that question. Pregnancy weight. Oh, guys, so eating healthy. I mean, you can actually tell them.
Oh, can I?
No, it's actually
No
being
pressure.
very. Do you know what?
Yes.
It's just good habits around eating.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be consistent.
I used to be like a gym bunny, and now gyms are closed, and I'm doing light exercises, but not as much as I would like to. But all of the baby weight dropped because of healthy eating habits. And I think one of the things that kind of helped me kind of put it together in sort of like a system is my intermittent fasting, which you can read about. It's just periods of cycles during the day where you eat and then you stop. So I would skip breakfast. Usually I was never a breakfast person anyway to begin with. And then when I read that, intermittent fasting, like you skip breakfast, that was fine. But I think what really did it for me was stopping at 8 o'clock. Like, what time is it? Okay, you know what? This is an exception.
Well, drinking is okay, no? Or you don't?
David, when have you seen me drink wine past 8 o'clock?
It's true. I've been pouring you a lot of glasses and you always leave them.
Yeah, and maybe you should stop.
It's in my nature. It's like, if I have a drink, I always pour you one. So.
Yeah, I know. And you come back the next day and you see it the same place.
Or actually,
yeah, so just stopping eating at 8 o'clock. Because normally, like, when we have date nights at home or like, kids are in bed, want to relax or watching Netflix, and then the next thing you know, we're munching on chocolate biscuits and crackers and everything that we can lay our hands on. And I just basically stopped that. That's it.
Someone is asking, what contraceptive do you use?
I have the Implanon, guys. There's an Implanon somewhere in my arm here. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
There's an Implanon.
We can actually see it a little bit on the camera.
Can you actually see it?
Yeah.
It's like a little. Oh yeah, you can.
Oh yeah.
You can see the little end here, but it's like a very short, tiny rod that's in my left arm. It expires every 3 years, and I have to like do it again. So that's the contraception that I used even prior to having the kids. I just took it out, felt pregnant, and then it's like putting it back in. Yeah, that's it.
True. What else do we got? Oh, you guys are, Jesus. What are you currently watching? What are we currently watching?
We're watching the Last Man on Earth.
Oh, The Last Man on Earth, actually. That's
hilarious. It was recommended by my friend Oni.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's actually,
You know what? I tried to get into Ozark.
No, hold on. When you say you try, listen to this. So we have this back and forth a little bit about like giving each other recommendation what we really like, right? Normally, let me see, by the way, I really want to see this in the comments. How many episodes would you say it takes for you to decide whether you like a show or not? Okay? How many?
Oh,
excuse me.
Sorry.
Guys, please help me out here. How many episodes would it take for you to watch something on Netflix or Amazon, whatever it is, right? For you to decide whether you like it or not? 1, 2.
Thank you.
No. Okay. Now, Adanna is on season 3, I think it is 3, episode 5 or 6, and said only now she started to like it. So she's been telling me.
That says a lot about the
She's
show.
been telling me that she claims to not have liked it. Wait. She claims not to like Ozark, but yet watched almost 3-4 seasons and said only at episode. I think it was episode 5 or 6 in season 3. You said it started to be good.
Yeah.
I don't believe her. She didn't like it.
Can I explain? I'm right.
That's such a big lie.
Can I actually explain?
That's such a big lie.
Can I explain? Can I explain?
Please do. So we have it on camera.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you,
Please.
everyone, the whole world has been going on about, like, you know, like the way everybody got into Money Heist. And I was like, this show is lit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a thing. And like everyone talking about it, you want to know what's the hype, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere I look, everyone's going on about Ozark. So I was like, okay.
No, I love
somebody
it too.
said I still don't like Ozark.
No, but that's okay. Was it Baby and Woko? But how many episodes did you watch until you make that decision? Adanna's claiming she's been watching 2 full seasons. Why she doesn't like it?
It's not even like I was binge watching it. I've been watching Ozark for the last God knows how many weeks or months, and I'm just like, you know what? If you were that interested, I could have finished you in like 2 days.
I literally would watch maximum of 3 episodes, and if I'm not into it, then I'll not waste my time.
I was doing a chat because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Right? You've been going on about this Ozark, and I was just like, you know the way that.
Look at this.
By the way, yeah. Oh, just so. When sometimes we also decide to watch things differently because, you know, closeness and distance is the key to the dance of coexistence. So we give each other our space. Your mother. We will give each other our spaces, right, to watch our own stuff. But it's kind of nice as a couple to come back and be like, oh my God, can we talk about this? Like the way I tried to talk to you about Power, you didn't get into it. The way I tried to talk to you about Game of Thrones, I was like, this boy, seriously. I was like, okay, let's actually find a show where we can communicate. I was like, okay, I'm going to give Ozark a chance, yeah?
Okay. That's okay. No problem.
Season 3,
just want to address
6,
that
I'm
quickly.
just like, so this had to happen for me to be like, this Ozark is worth watching. I'm like, seriously. Anyway, I even hate that I spend this long talking about Ozark.
Anyway, what else do we got? Any other questions around the topic, by the way, of today's video?
Yeah. Actually, we've actually gone on a rant outside of today's episode, but it's okay. I suppose we just address questions, even if it's outside the topic.
Of course. What else do you get there?
Does the contraception have any side effects on you? Anyway, actually, yes, it does. Honestly, I didn't even notice it before kids, but for some reason, since after kids, and I put it, I find to be on my period a lot more than. No.
You know, you normally say like 1-3 is the ratio, 1 week on and 3 weeks off, you know?
Oh, yeah?
I kind of feel it's the opposite. But it's okay. It's okay.
I'm gonna have it checked when I'm gonna switch it afterward, but I'm just really scared. You know why you're doing this complaint so that I take it off and then I get
I'm
not even going there. This thing is gonna be. I'm happy to be on my period.
I'm not even playing that card.
Okay.
Somebody asked about food. My husband is German and he doesn't eat African food. Is your husband doing the same? Because I've never seen your husband eating Nigerian food. Please tell them.
This boy eats more spice than me. Like sometimes he's munching away and I'm like, how are you coping with this spice?
Trust me, the one thing, you know how some people say like a man's love or men's way to the heart goes to the stomach.
Yeah, even a woman, the way to a woman's heart is first.
Man, that's for me with like Nigerian food. Actually, to be honest, a lot of African food, but specifically Nigerian food. When I go to Nigeria on my business trips, usually, you know this anyway, and a lot of my colleagues know this. At least the first night, if not the first 3 nights, the first thing I have to order is peppered snail with fried plantain for the first 3 nights, sometimes straight.
Yeah.
You know, and most of my colleagues can't handle it. But so yes, to your question, absolutely,
yeah,
I absolutely love it. The best thing is when Adanna's mom comes around or we go to visit, and then they cook in the house. They're like, full on in for like the whole stay there. Like it's amazing. I love it.
I'm sorry. We're getting a few questions around like challenges being an interracial couple or mixed couple. But we're not going to address that now because, guys, that is an episode in itself.
Oh yeah, we're going to get into that.
Remember that we told you that we collected all of the questions and we,
yes.
What's the word I'm looking for? We came up with.
That's what you were looking for.
No, that's not what I was looking for. It's the alternative to the word that's.
It's late in the evening. It's late in the day.
Like, no, it's an episode in itself. So you're going to have to tune in with your glass of wine to listen to the tea on being in an interracial marriage.
We're definitely going to share our experience with that as well. Kind of, Adanna meeting my parents, or rather my family meeting her and then her family meeting me. I think there'll be some interesting stories that were never told before, maybe, that we might be sharing. Yeah.
Okay. And we can see that there's a lot more people joining than when we started.
Amazing.
So you might have missed the first bit of this conversation, which was about sex after kids.
Mhm.
But this is going to go live on the channel, so you'll be able to catch
Absolutely.
that.
So I would say, should we give it 5 more minutes before we wrap up?
No,
you want to?
No,
Okay,
kidding,
let's see. Okay,
I'm kidding.
you know what?
Yeah,
We'll choose 3 more questions. What do you think?
What's your favorite color?
Okay, that's number 1.
Mine is mustard, and David claims his is red. He doesn't own anything that's red. I bought you your first red shirt. That's not red, mate. That's pink.
That's not pink. What? That's not pink at all.
Like what color? Okay, what color?
I find it funny how she questions my favorite color.
No, just
by the
me.
Wait, hold on.
What color is this? Please.
Rosé. Champagne, actually. Champagne. So, do you judge your favorite color by the fact of how many pieces of clothing you have? No. My favorite color I like to look at, to see is red. I don't necessarily think red suits me as a person, right? So that's why I might not be owning. It looks pink.
Someone
it's
says
peach.
It's
See, rosé. Salmon actually is the color. It's salmon.
Salmon. The L is silent.
Wow. Ouch. Well, the fish. Okay, the fish. Salmon.
Oh, somebody wants to talk about sex during pregnancy.
Well, that's like, how many hours do we have?
Let's just make that another topic.
Yeah,
Let's just make that another. Oh,
next episode, David were red. Okay, I'll try.
He does. I'm telling you guys, he doesn't own anything that's red. The first red shirt I bought David when we were in uni in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 12 years ago. It's still in his wardrobe because he has like an emotional connection to it.
Emotional.
But that's the only red thing that he owns. So I don't even know where he's coming up with red being his favorite color.
It has always been red, by the way, just to let you know.
You're making matters worse than it.
No, but it's the truth.
It's always been red.
Yeah. I don't measure my favorite color by the fact of how much clothing I have.
Let's just move on. Let's take 2 more questions and then we'll call it now. I'm just really, do you know what I'm worried about? Because for people who need to catch up on this episode, I don't want it to be too long.
Yeah, but if they really want to watch the topic, of course, the first 20 minutes are there anyway.
Okay, you're right.
The last 20 minutes now are just more questions. So
yeah. How long have you been
visit? Oh, sorry, I have to interrupt. Passion is asking, please visit Durban, South Africa when it's safe to do so.
Oh,
as a matter of fact, I actually, one of my best friends, and for some of you who are watching or have watched our travel vlogs, and specifically my South Africa travel vlogs, actually one of my best and closest friends lives in Mayville in Durban. And every time I go to South Africa for a business trip, or almost every time anyway, I actually try to visit him. So I actually used to live and work in Durban many years ago, I think 15, 16 years ago or something. So I absolutely love Durban. It's kind of my, third, fourth home, if you want, or something, at least emotionally. Yeah, exactly. And we've been planning this now for a while. I've been talking to my friend, like one day, I definitely want to take all of us actually to Durban. So yes, we will.
I've been to Joburg, Cape Town, but not Durban.
No, we have to visit Durban.
Yeah. Okay.
So, is this the last question?
Yeah, that's the last question. Should we?
So let's toast to the last question.
Okay,
let's find it first before we toast it.
Any embarrassing moments during sex? Actually, let's end with a juicy one. Actually, never actually thought to consider that.
Any embarrassing moments?
Embarrassing moments.
Actually, other than maybe the obvious or usual ones, but nothing.
Which is the opposite? Whisper.
No.
Whisper into my ear. Let's be on the same page. I think. Please get out of town. We're not gonna.
Okay. Maybe not.
No, see, there's no embarrassing moments, but I think this happens for everyone where you're in the presence of your activity. And do you know what? It's always usually the men sometimes who
to be fair, yes.
Come first.
True.
Yeah, but not even in the, this is.
I think it's just biological.
Just it's
somehow.
Like a couple of times, honestly, I don't even know what to say. But it's just some occasions where
yeah. Well, actually, sorry. That is a good one. Considering we're talking about like sex after kids, I think the breast milk spewing out is a good one.
Okay.
I think that's.
Let's end.
I actually
with this
don't think
juicy
this
question, because I was in a position where I literally was wondering, do men drink this breast milk? Do they? And like, do they drink this breast milk?
So no, normally not.
So no, yeah,
Normally
okay.
not.
So normally not, because you apparently, I did my research and found out that people kind of wear stuff like you leave your bras or your whatever on, because the stimulation actually leads to like literally the breast milk squirting in the eyes of the individual that you're being
individual.
the individual you're being
Very
intimate
neutral
with.
here. But yeah, that actually has happened, right?
Yes.
That actually, so it's not embarrassing. I didn't find it embarrassing, to be honest, at all. Like, it was funny, so I wouldn't call it embarrassing. One, but it was certainly hilarious kind of moment.
But has David tried the breast milk? Yes, he has. Not from a bottle.
No, that would be awkward.
Directly from the cow. He has milked the cow directly. Let's just say.
Yes. But so yes, that screwing of the milk and stuff, that certainly has happened. And in my face, and yes. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, I think it's time to end this video.
We literally hit 40 minutes, so that I think is acceptable.
Okay.
So we'll toast to, well, first of all, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you
so much, guys.
We hope obviously you enjoyed this and you had a great time. Okay, we certainly had. This went by really fast.
Yeah, it went by really quickly. We're really looking forward to this. And in case you guys didn't know, this is gonna be a thing every Wednesday, 9 p.m. We're going to be here spilling the tea on another...
Set your calendar, please. Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, we're going to be here.
9 p.m. London time. So wherever you are in the world, make sure you know your time zone, but it's 9 p.m. London time.
Yeah, so...
Exactly.
This is cheers to you guys for joining us.
And to us, congratulations. Congratulations
on our first YouTube Live.
There we go. We hope we did okay. We hope you don't mind.
I really loved chatting to you guys.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to when I meet you guys in person. Always. It's the best.
Absolutely. Perfect.
All right.
So much love.
Yeah, much love.
And obviously, for those of you who might be tuning in who are not subscribed yet, by the way, obviously, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, of course, make sure to follow us on
Instagram. Adanna_David.
TikTok. Facebook.
No.
Wherever else.
Actually, I was going to say, specifically for the To Navigate series, which is about relationship. And obviously, just so you know, it's not limited to whether or not you're married, right? Yeah. We can address topics of like pre-marriage, pre-babies.
Yeah.
So do tell your friends, share this episode with them so that we have more people join us live next week.
Yeah.
And let us, don't you know you have to drink when you close to the last 7 years old?
Oh, we never will have that.
I'm not even going to mention it.
Okay. Cheers. Okay, guys.
Bye. Oh my God.
See you next week.
We get interrupted back here.
We did not. We actually behaved. Right. See you next week. Bye.